Hey, this is James. Thought we'd hop on here very quickly and do a live update. I'm doing this update this evening. Let's see, it is 9:35, and thought we'd talk about what's to come with round two that's unfolding right now in terms of the severe weather threat. So let's go right to the radar and discuss what's happening at the moment. And I really think that this might evolve into more of a heavy rain event overnight, with the potential for some flooding problems. That's the way it looks at the moment, and so far the storms for the last hour have been under severe limits. They're producing some loud thunder, some heavy rain, gusty winds, but again, we see no evidence of storms at severe limits. And keep in mind, to be severe, storms need to have 1-inch diameter hail or larger, or 58-mile-per-hour winds or greater. And again, no sign of that at this point. So we'll check the latest severe weather outlook from SPC, the Storm Prediction Center, and there really hasn't been a lot of change. That's the update that came out about 7 o'clock, and quite frankly, I was a little surprised that they left the enhanced risk in place over the southern half of the state, that area there in orange. The air was really worked over by the storms we had earlier today, and sometimes it's a little hard for that air mass to recover for another big round of storms. But in any way, that's the current setup there, and the probabilistic outlook for tornadoes really has not changed that much. The better chance of isolated tornadoes overnight tonight will be in that yellow area on that map, basically south of Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, and Auburn, Opelika. And so, needless to say, we'll be watching the weather carefully overnight tonight. But again, at this point, you can see we have no active warnings in effect across Alabama. I'll stop this and take a closer look. You can see some of the heaviest rain is falling in Shelby County, south of Birmingham. Got a pretty good storm out in the western part of Jefferson County out toward Oak Grove. But again, looking at the velocity, we see no evidence of any sign of tornadoes, no sign of damaging straight-line winds at this point. Got a batch of pretty good showers over the northern part of the state from Lamar County back over to Smith Lake and Gadsden. But let's go to the Jackson, Mississippi radar, excuse me, and see what's happening over here. We do note a couple of severe thunderstorm warning polygons in effect in Mississippi for areas east of Interstate 55. One severe thunderstorm warning up around Carthage. We've got one down around Collins, Mississippi, which is west of Laurel. And we've seen a couple of tornado warning polygons earlier this evening out of Jackson, but again, it seems as if the main issue overnight tonight will be from heavy rain and flooding potential. And we should mention that the National Weather Service has kind of expanded the flash flood watch to include more of central Alabama. And, of course, the ground is totally saturated from rains earlier today and the rain that's falling now. And, again, the batch you see there that's forming over Mississippi, that'll be rolling in here after midnight tonight. So there's going to be some loud thunder for a lot of you if you're in Alabama at 2, 3, 4 a.m. after midnight during the pre-dawn hours. And, again, the concerns will be heavy rain and flooding, strong gusty winds, maybe some hail. And, again, I want to stress there could be an isolated tornado, but I'm not so sure we'll have that many tornado warnings after midnight tonight. But as always, with thunderstorms, what do? You expect the unexpected. So let's go back to the Birmingham radar. And again, that's the situation here. We're watching these big convective clusters rolling to the northeast. And again, that's going to continue through 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. The storms will be ending from west to east during the pre-dawn hours. And by 7 o'clock, most all of this should be in Georgia, and the sky becomes mostly sunny tomorrow. And, of course, we've had a pretty good bit of damage today. Some of the most significant damage was down in Elmore County, around Lake Jordan, a lot of damage there. We had some damage down around Slapout in Elmore County and Deatsville and Holtville. And, again, we've had damage in Marengo County around Spring Hill, southeast of Demopolis. We've had damage near Marion and Perry County, just north of Marion, from apparent small tornadoes. And it looks like we might have between 5 and 10 small, brief tornadoes that touched down today. And if you watch the television coverage, you know how frustrating these kind of days can be if you're a meteorologist, because warning for these things, it is so hard. It's the whack-a-mole game. You issue a warning for a tornado, and it's gone by the time the warning is disseminated. And they're down for a few minutes, and they just don't last that long. And if we do have any tornadoes overnight, it's going to be the same kind of thing. And understand, every tornado is dangerous. And if you think they're not, you get hit by an EF0, and you'll see what we mean, because that can knock down a tree that's going to come on top of a house or a trailer and cause a lot of problems. And again, I can't stay long here because I've got to go over to Studio A across the hall here and do ABC 3340 News at 10. We invite you to watch us on the television side. Taylor Serralo is here with me, and again, we'll be watching these things throughout the night. But the one thing I would encourage you to do is just to be sure that you're in a position to hear warnings overnight tonight. And if by chance we do have a tornado warning at 3 a.m., it is really hard to reach people at that hour, obviously. And that's why we really, really, really stress that everybody needs one of these. And I hope you have one. And if you don't, your homework is to please go get one for your house and your business. That's a weather radio. This has nothing to do with a cell network. It's an independent RF network, and those things are allowed, and they will wake you up. It's old school, but it's good school. So, again, you can get those at big box retailers, and that's the Midland WR120. That's the model you see there, and that's the one that most people have, and they work really well. But beyond that, on your phone, be sure that you've got wireless emergency alerts enabled, the loud tone out. That has nothing to do with an app. That's what's built into every phone sold in the United States. Go to settings, notifications, and be sure emergency alerts is turned on. And again, you can help us through this event if we do have warnings overnight. And if you are watching, and if you know somebody that's in a polygon, you can be a hero, literally a big part of the warning process, by simply calling them and letting your friends know, hey, you're in a tornado warning. You need to go through your precautions and go to your safe place and put on your helmet. And speaking of helmets, that is a big deal. Helmets for everybody, including the adults, including just about everybody else. Again, one more time, let's go back to the radar. And again, if you're just joining us here, I'm live on YouTube and Facebook. It's 9:43. This is Tuesday night, the 3rd of January. And we're watching, at this point, non-severe storms rolling across the state, moving from southwest to northeast. All of the storms you see here, they're capable of producing very heavy amounts of rain. And again, I really do think that flooding could very well be the biggest issue that we face here overnight tonight. Some spots, and I'm watching the Skywatcher reports coming in, some locations have received in excess of almost 2 inches of rain today. And another inch is likely at least overnight tonight, and that certainly could cause some flooding. This is a look at the flash flood watch, and you can see the counties in green. They've expanded that to include Sumter, Greene, Tuscaloosa, Jefferson, Shelby, Talladega, Clay, Randolph, and counties to the south for the overnight hours. So much of central and south Alabama with a flash flood watch. And again, the watch in Mississippi, those pink counties, that is not a tornado watch. That is a severe thunderstorm watch. And if we do see a new watch issued tonight for Alabama, I think it's going to be a severe thunderstorm watch. I really don't think there's a need for a tornado watch. But again, I stress, having said that, there could be an isolated brief tornado overnight tonight, but heavy rain, flooding, the main concern, strong gusty winds, and some hail. And the good news, once we get through the night tonight, that should do it for any severe weather opportunities for at least the next 7 to 10 days. And again, I want to stress, this is not unusual. We say it over and over and over. Alabama's tornado season runs from November through May, which means this is tornado season. Goodness, I've worked so many tornado events in the month of January in my many moons of doing this. And again, you might hear the rain up on the roof here. I'm not in the TV studio. I'm back in my office back here, and we don't have the insulation in this room that we have in the Studio A. So that background noise is heavy rain falling. And again, we are in River Chase in Hoover. In fact, let me stop this and I'll show you where we are. We're in this mess right here. And again, it's just pouring. Southern part of Hoover, south of 459 down to Pelham and Alabaster. back over to Chelsea and Columbiana, and it's just thunder, lightning, heavy rain, just messy. And again, that's what folks are dealing with, but at least they're moving along at a pretty good clip, and we're going to see waves of these things. So that'll kind of wrap it up for this update. I want to thank you for watching. Again, I'll come back with a regular briefing video tomorrow morning early. And again, we will not have to deal with severe storms for the next 7 to 10 days. Temperatures trend back toward average values later this week. We'll see highs back in the 50s and lows in the 30s by Thursday and Friday. And temperatures look seasonal for a while. So, again, just a few quick notes here. I will be on ABC 3340 News here in about 15 minutes at 10 o'clock. And we invite you to watch us over there. And again, Taylor and I will be here through the night. We'll be watching things. But I'm beginning to think the greatest concern will be heavy rain and flooding. So if you live in a flood-prone area, just pay attention to flash flood warnings. And again, there could be some gusty winds, and with the ground awfully saturated, it might blow down some trees overnight. Not tornadic-type winds, but straight-line winds. And again, there could be an isolated tornado. And if we have a watch, like we talked about, I think the watch will be a severe thunderstorm watch. The latest mesoscale update I saw from the Storm Prediction Center had the chance of a watch being issued at 60%. So the Storm Prediction Center, like we're doing here, they're just watching trends. And so far, the storms are behaved in that they're below severe limits. So that's it for this live update. We invite you to flip us over on the television side, ABC 3340 News here in a few minutes at 10 o'clock. We will see you then. Thanks for watching.